before we get into the picks, and I do want to add a special pick for the national championship on Monday to our picks. What did you guys think about the bowl game or the playoff games this past week, man?
They were good. They were. That was exactly what they wanted.
That's exactly what they wanted.
They mission accomplished. If you're, the powers
committee.
that be, the committee. So I mean, and they were honestly enjoying to watch. Both of them came down to the wire. One even went into overtime, as we all know. So it's hard to even critique it at this point. It's like, okay, well, we got two great games, and if that was the cost of not putting Georgia in there to wax everybody, or not putting Florida State in there to get waxed, it was
man. Georgia fumbled a major opportunity because they would have ran through.
They would have ran through. So I'm like,
but man, Michael Penix, he's on a heater, man. A lot of people compare it to Joe Burrow when he had Jamar and Justin Jefferson and Terrace Marshall and Randy Moss's son and Clyde Edwards too. They were out there eating. But Washington looks pretty potent. I mean, obviously Michigan got a huge win after we saw how shook they were to play Alabama, and I don't care what they said, they were shook. They were shook. And they got a huge win, even though it seemed like neither team really wanted to win that game. And it's good to see especially after the kind of tumultuous season that they've had with the cheating scandal and whatnot. But man, shout out Michael Penix, man. He was going stupid, boy.
Every deep ball was connected. It was like he was
Romo Dunze is gonna be a problem in this league.
He's gonna be
a problem.
I can't wait to see where he goes, man. Oh man, this is a good draft class coming out though. Like
the receivers
I'm really excited about this draft class. Yeah.
Because I talked about Odunze, but I mean they've got a couple other receivers at Washington. I mean we're seeing Puka, who just came from that team in Washington, going crazy in the league. He's about to have the greatest rookie receiving
season ever,
and they're gonna make it a point. And
for sure, he's about to go out there and get.
He was the only one that is not sitting. If you didn't see, Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp's all
they definitely
sitting
him
this
that
week.
record.
And then on top of that, on the other side, Xavier Worthy made a couple plays on the Texas side, and then A.D. Mitchell. First of all, you fucked up, my boy. You could have stayed at UGA, got you a 3-peat, but you wanted to go fuck with Texas. Nah, I know you had some family stuff going on, but made some plays as well. But before we get into the picks, man, they almost had an epic collapse, boy. Did y'all? I mean, how do y'all feel about that? So to give a little bit more context, Texas at the end of the game, Texas onside kick to Washington, and Washington had about a minute, 2 minutes left in the game, and Texas only had 2 timeouts. All they basically had to do was just punt the ball, but on third down, their running back got hurt. So the Washington running back got hurt, so they called an injury timeout.
Yep.
The injury timeout stopped the clock. If the injury didn't happen, or if he would have just hobbled off the field real quick, Texas would have gotten the ball with about 9 seconds left, probably at like their own 10-yard line, within their own 10-yard line. But with the timeout happening, they got the ball with like a minute left, drove it down, and it came down to a last-minute play. How do you guys feel about it? Yeah, they did. If he would have put it on A.D. Mitchell, I mean, it probably would have been a touchdown. How do y'all feel about that? Like, you're forced to get an injury timeout on the offensive side. See, that's one time where it kind of hurt the offense there.
That's true. It's a tough situation. Because it depends on the injury. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Some injuries you're able to just hop off to the sideline. Some you can't. That's what makes it so tough. It's like when you get injured, like he did, where he couldn't even move. Like he couldn't I forgot what was it, a hammy? What was it?
I don't know. It was something lower body.
Something lower body, but he couldn't move anymore. I don't know. It's like what do you change about that though?
As a teammate, are you like, bro, get your ass up, get up, like
that's all you had to do.
Carry you off. But I mean, seriously though, I would have carried him.
But you shouldn't have to do that. I mean, but at the same time, injury timeout is an injury timeout. It's tough. It is tough because they really could have lost that game, and it would have been literally because of that injury. Timeout.
there was a play that happened. I mean, at this point, this is about 20 years ago with Marshall Faulk at the end of the game. They with the Rams, they needed a timeout, and I want to say it might have been Torrey Holt that was injured. And he was injured, and they needed to clock the ball. Marshall Faulk literally picked him up off the ground and held him up so that they can get the ball clocked. And they ended up. That was one of the things that they talked about. Like that's where it showed like Marshall Faulk was the leader of this team and like kind of Superman. And that's something that I remember, and I kept thinking about it that night. Like somebody go get this man, like go pick him up, bring him to the sideline. I mean, obviously you don't know how severe the injury is. But like a situation like that,
game,
bro,
like
he gonna have to understand. Like this is a championship, my boy. It's a championship. We gotta get to.
Where he tore his shit, man.
Hey,
man, you gotta get your ass.
Hop on my back.
You gotta get off the field.
Something. You gotta get off the field. Yeah. But with that being said, man, Cass, what's the picks looking like?
All right. It was all right week, for the most part. So I got 3 correct. I went 3-3. Chris, you went 4-2. Shy, you also went 4-2. Chris, your only misses were you picked Miami. So yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
crazy man.
I don't know why I thought
crazy
the
man.
Ravens. Damn.
And then you picked Tampa Bay, which we all picked Tampa Bay.
All picked Tampa Bay, yeah.
You know how that shit is. And then Shy, your misses were you picked Tampa Bay, and then you also picked Detroit with me, who should have won, but it is what it is. So total on the year going into the last week of the season,
big comeback,
of the regular season. Chris, you're in the lead at 54. Shy, you're second at 52, and I am third at 51 on the year. 51 correct.
Okay.
Big week.
Big week,
weird week too, though, because
no Monday night, no Thursday night. It's kind of sad.
Not a lot of starters playing.
So it's going to be tough. But we do have a bunch of win and get in games.
Yep.
And like I said, we do have a special 7th pick as well with the national championship coming on Monday versus Michigan and University of Washington. So we can go ahead and start with that one. Who you guys got? National championship game for all the marbles. Let a naysayer know, nigga.
You know what? It's tough to pick against Harborough, but I'm gonna go Washington. I think Michael Penix pulled this off and make some plays and scores big late.
That man said, "Free Hooley. I ain't forget about you."
Yeah. I ain't forget about you.
That shit was so hard. All right, Chris, who you got?
I'm gonna go Michigan. I just think they got a better defense than Washington. I think they're gonna be able to make some stops, and Harbaugh get him a championship.
That'll be the perfect way for him because he's definitely coming to the league, so it'll be a perfect way to lead.
It would, and I love Jim Harbaugh. I love both of the Harbaughs. Funny story, real quick. I'll try to make it quick. So they said this on the Herd earlier. A couple years ago, when Jim Harbaugh was kind of at a crossroads, they were looking to move off of him at Michigan. He had an opportunity to pick between. He reached out to John. Obviously, that's his brother with Baltimore. He had an opportunity. He said, "Look, I need somebody from y'all's defense. Like, I need somebody to run our defense. Blah blah blah." He had an opportunity. He said John Harbaugh gave him 2 different options. One is the defensive quarterback coordinator that they have right now. His name is escaping me. The second was Mike the Ravens defensive coordinator right now. The Ravens defensive coordinator took the job with Michigan. And the defensive coordinator that they have, Michigan has right now, went to a different school and coordinated there for a couple years. Once the Baltimore Ravens position came open when old boy went to New York, the Giants.
Wink Martindale.
Yeah. When Wink Martindale went over to the Giants, the Michigan defensive coordinator, who's now the Ravens defensive coordinator. He went back to the league, became the Ravens defensive coordinator, and then old boy came from the school that he was at to go to Michigan, be their defensive coordinator. Both run a similar defense, so it's amazing to see that they're both, the two best teams in the college and NFL right now.
NFL, yeah.
We interview Michigan D coordinator.
Y'all need to interview that nigga again, clearly. But with that being said, I would love to see them go out in the storybook ending, but I'm also going to rock with Michael Penix. He's gone through, a tough road with the injuries back at Indiana. But that receiving core is nasty. They're on a heater. I think him and Romo Dunze are just going to keep going. And I think we get a pretty high scoring game with Washington ending up pulling it out. Sorry, Vontae. But switching gears to the NFL, we're going to go ahead and start with the Saturday games. It's tough, y'all. Indy versus Houston. Win and get in. Whoever wins gets into the wild card no matter what, but they do have an opportunity if Jacksonville loses on Sunday. Whoever the winner of this game also wins the AFC South. But Indy versus Houston. Gardner Minshew versus C.J. Stroud. Unfortunately, we do not get to see the Anthony Richardson versus C.J. Stroud. What a game that would have been to end the season, win and get in between the two rookies. Who you guys got?
Go ahead, Chris.
Tough.
Very tough.
I'm gonna go Indy, man. Think Shane come out there and pull something out, pull something off, man. But yeah, I ultimately think y'all gonna win. It's gonna be a good game. It's probably the best game of the weekend.
I can't wait to see it Saturday night. Like, I'm locked in Saturday night for sure. I can't wait to see this
After
one.
all the shit I was saying about not getting a primetime game, they finally got one last week.
This is the one. This is the big one.
Big one.
I'm gonna go Houston though. I like Houston offense way too much. I think Gardner Minshew ends up making a couple of mistakes that kind of dooms him. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of been his MO this season. You never really know. He's been good, but he's also made a couple of damning mistakes. Some they got over, some they haven't. But
this is very tough because it's hard to not go with the quote unquote better quarterback in the matchup. But obviously, the Colts are my squad. I'm rocking with the Colts. The Texans are pretty banged up. Will Anderson didn't practice. Noah Brown didn't practice. Robert Woods has not practiced thus far this week either. Tunsil's hurt as well. I mean, he did practice on a limited basis today. They've got a lot of injuries. They had a lot of injuries in the first game. The Colts kind of ran through them the first game. Obviously, Anthony Richardson played for, a quarter, and then Gardner Minshew took over. And the game was I think the game ended like 31-20. It looked a little bit closer than it actually was. I think this game is a little bit closer, but with the Colts being at home, being the healthier team as well, and when Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor play, they're typically pretty potent on offense. So as Chris mentioned, I think that Shane's going to dial it up, and I'm rocking with the Colts this week.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one, and I'll be very sad on a Saturday if they lose. But nah. But sticking in the AFC South, the good thing about the last week of the season is it's all division games. So we got Jacksonville versus Tennessee. As mentioned, if Jacksonville ends up losing this game, and like my prediction earlier in the season, I did say that I thought the Colts were going to win division. So who you guys got? Jacksonville versus Tennessee. Trevor Lawrence did not play last week. He did practice on a limited basis today. His status is still up in the air. Will Levis is out. It'll be Ryan Tannehill's last game in Tennessee. Who you guys got?
I got Jacksonville. They're going to take care of business, go ahead and get in the playoff. They ain't going to play around these boys.
Ooh, I want to go Tennessee. I ain't going to lie to you. I want to go Tennessee, but I'm going to go Jacksonville. I think they stopped playing with their food this week and realize what's at stake. Tennessee's going to be looking to come with it, though, but I think there's too many question marks on that team to even give them a real chance. So,
surprise. I'm rocking with Tennessee, y'all. I'm rocking with Tennessee.
I had a feeling you would.
The Mike Vrabel, this seems like they always seem to win the games that they shouldn't win. and this is a game that they shouldn't win. I do want to put in a little caveat. Christian Kirk was designated to return from IR today. I don't know. We don't know at this point if he is going to play. If him and Trevor Lawrence both play, I will switch my pick to Jacksonville. But I just feel like, especially after the impassioned speech that Mike Vrabel just gave, in terms of what they're fighting for, what do bad teams or teams that are missing the playoffs fighting for, and he just said, losing fucking sucks. And it does fucking suck. And I do think that Ryan Tannehill would try to go out with a bang with, like I said, it being his last game in Tennessee. So I think Tennessee pulls off the upset, and we see Jacksonville miss the playoffs and have a lot of questions going into next season.
We'll see.
But moving to the next game, I mean, we got a lot of tough games, y'all. A lot of winning gets in.
It's some tough ones. Big stakes.
So I'm going to start with the Atlanta versus New Orleans Saints game.
Speak up.
So they're Atlanta and New Orleans are playing at the same time as Tampa and Carolina. So there's nobody's going to have any knowledge of what's going on aside from watching on the big screen.
You know it's going to be on the big screen.
Who you guys got? Atlanta coming off a tough loss. Saints coming off of a big win to keep their season alive and keep the hopes of getting in the NFC South Championship open. Who you guys got, man?
Speak up, Cat. Yo. Yeah. You want to go last?
I'll go last.
I got the Saints, man. The Saints. I got the Saints. They playing in the Superdome, or is it Mercedes-Benz, however you call it. But yeah, they Saints at home, and I think they're gonna take care of business. They trying to get in that thing. They trying to get in the dance.
Mm-hmm. They so bad.
Yeah, man. The NFC South is tough, man. Especially after this past weekend, man. I really thought the Bucs were gonna handle business, but the Falcons don't know what they're doing. They have no direction, and I've been saying it kind of all season. And this entire season was supposed to be about Desmond Ridder, and there was never a point in time that Heineke should have started. He, no disrespect to Taylor Heineke, but we know what you are at this point in your career. But the Falcons have no plan, no clear direction, and I just think that the trend continues. It has been rumored and reported that they're going to stick with Arthur Smith. I don't think that's a great idea. It has been rumored that they want to go after Justin Fields and all of this stuff. They're going to have a lot of questions starting next week, but I'm gonna go ahead and rock with the Saints, unfortunately, because I don't trust them either.
There is not a single bone, and I say this with a heavy heart. There's not a single bone in my body that wants the Falcons to win this game. I think we should lose this game, and I'll be pissed off, honestly, if we do win. Y'all should have beat us a couple weeks ago. We wouldn't even have to go through this shit. But y'all let them go out there and look like an actual football team at home against y'all boys. Nah, man. Like, it's like going back to what you said earlier. You said it in, I don't know if maybe it was the first couple weeks of the season or even the preseason. You said that if there is a point in time where Taylor Heineke is the quarterback for this team, Arthur Smith should be gone. And you cannot sit there. And he even said it himself, but I don't want to play musical chairs with the quarterbacks. But that's all you've done the last 8 weeks of the season.
Even against the Bears, basically.
Even against the Bears, you throw him back in there like, okay, you saying that Taylor Heineke hurt his ankle, but he was still out there playing the whole time. No, you just throw him out there. And it's like, you can't keep going back and forth with these quarterbacks. What is your plan? You ruin the season over this shit. You ruined the season. You should have just stuck with Desmond Ridder the whole fucking season. Or you should have started Taylor from the beginning of the season and stuck with him. Don't sit there and pull quarterbacks at halftime and like stupid shit like that. It's really annoying. All that to say, I'm going with New Orleans. I think they win this game. I think, honestly, the team is done with it. I saw Cordero Patterson like a tweet on Instagram the other day talking about how he's, unhappy with his role. And he commented also and said, should I be happy? Like, I know there's some locker room stuff going on too that we're not hearing.
Should I be happy? It's crazy.
It's just it really is.
Facts.
But it is facts. It's like, what is going on? You have all these players that star in their role.
Blue
like
chippers.
I'm saying, like, you sitting, you ruin the whole season over your lack of consistency, your lack of ability to call a play. You've been a quarterback. You've been the head coach for 3 seasons. and you've only scored over 30 points 4 times. You had a losing season every season, and it's fucking terrible. I don't see how he keeps his job. It's honestly,
no clear direction.
I saw those reports and it really made me mad. It's like, well, what are you doing if you're Arthur Blank? What is your how do you really? Because you already know how fans were a couple of seasons ago when you really pissed everybody off and people weren't coming to the games. You weren't selling tickets like that. Like, I get you were in a new a new arena, new stadium or whatever, but it's gonna go real bad if you sit there and bring this team back. If you bring Arthur Smith back, you got to bring in a veteran quarterback. You cannot draft a quarterback. So what do? Who do you get? Just scrap this shit. Scrap this shit. Draft the quarterback, man. Ain't got time for this shit. Shit pissed me off. Arthur Smith, trash ass.
Okay, and on the other side of the NFC South, man, Tampa Bay versus Carolina.
Tampa Bay better not lose.
We all know how Carolina's season has gone, even to the point where your owner is throwing drinks on fans and only getting fined $300,000 for a billionaire. But hey, it is what it is. Don't want to get into. We plan to get into it a little bit, but at this point, we've gone kind of long today, so we're gonna leave it at that. But Tampa Bay versus Carolina, man, last game of Bryce Young's tough rookie season. What you guys got?
Man, but this is gonna have to take care of business, man. Like, if you lose this game, I don't know.
But that's such an NFC South thing to do. That's such a Bucks thing to do.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, you cannot lose this game, bro. Come on now. I'm going with the Bucks, but you just can't lose this game if you the Bucks. Like, nah, bro. I don't care if that's your division opponent. Nah, man.
I'm gonna go Bucks too. I'm
gonna go Bucks too, but it's tough.
That's tough if you lose this.
It's tough.
If you lose this game,
they lose the game and y'all win.
Man, fuck that. I don't know. Nobody trying to see that, man. Who's the starting quarterback for the home playoff game? We don't know. That's the crazy part.
Man, actually, I hope y'all do. I'm gonna go to that game.
It's very interesting because it's like I said. It's no direction from the Falcons and really no direction from any team aside from it looked like the Bucks were the only team that has some type of direction, and next year is really going to be a telltale for them. But I mean, we've seen the reports of Dennis Smith probably being brought back, which means Derek Carr's probably going to be brought back. So it means you have no direction with the Saints either. That's essentially what that means. No disrespect to those guys, but they're clearly not it. But the Falcons it's easy once again to say because we're not the ones that are actually playing. We're not the ones whose lives is truly affecting in terms of if you do have a bad season because you rock with a rookie quarterback or second year quarterback. But at the end of the day, for a guy like Calais Campbell, you have to know what you signed up for when you came to this team. For a guy like Jesse Bates, you have to know what you signed up for. Like Cordero Patterson.
But I think a lot of that went into this division is weak. We can at least win division, have a home playoff game, and that's probably what Calais Campbell and Jesse Bates, probably banked on a little bit. But
see, if Jesse Bates, maybe Calais Campbell, you've been in the league long enough. You've been in the league long enough. It's no excuse. You know what time it is. You was on the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what time it is.
That's facts.
You know what time it is.
Man, y'all talking like the Falcons still can't get in the playoffs.
Man, playoffs.
No,
bro. Stop playing.
I'm telling you, if y'all get in, I'm going to the game.
That ain't gonna mean nothing.
We will be playing each other. Let's go.
Go ahead, buy your ticket today.
I'm about to change my pick.
Hell no.
Anyway.
Hey, when is that?
That'll be
next week.
They don't know if it's gonna be Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, we don't know if it'll be Saturday, Sunday. Could be Monday.
I think they actually have Monday games. For
really?
Let's go.
Which I don't like. But we'll talk about that next week. Packers versus the Bears, man. Packers, they win, they get in. Jordan Love, will he get in his first full season as a starter? Fantastic game on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings, who don't know what they're doing at the QB position either. But Chicago, what are they? Winners of 4 of the last 5. They claim Justin Fields is on a heater. I don't want to hate on him after going on my whole black quarterback
He on that heater.
soliloquy earlier, so I'm gonna just let him ride.
No,
But who you guys got, man?
Eberflus really saved his job these last few weeks.
Man,
I think
he did.
He saved the hell out of his job, which is very impressive.
He's a good coach, man. He's a good coach. He was a good defensive coordinator for the Colts, and every time the Colts fans doubted him, he always showed up. He puts together good defensive game plans. He hasn't necessarily, and that's saying something because in Chicago their defensive line has been doing something. Typically, the edge rushers are more contained guys than pure rushers, so that was a lot of frustration for Colts fans. So it has been amazing to see the defensive turnaround. Hopefully, we do see some type of offensive turnaround if they do decide to keep with Justin Fields, which I don't think he should. But my opinion doesn't matter. But who you guys got, man?
No, it's a huge game, man, and Packers need to win this.
It's in Green Bay as well.
It's in Green Bay. That's why I'm going with the Packers in this one. If it was in Chicago, I would have went Chicago.
Yeah, frozen tundra.
They're pretty high right now, but I'm going Green Bay. Green Bay. I mean, look, like Jordan Love, he just needs time. He just needs time. He's figuring it out, and that's kind of what you're seeing. So I think they roll. I think they roll this week. He had a great week last week. I think they continued that. So I'm going Green Bay.
I too will go Green Bay. I'm liking Chicago defense, but I just think at this point in the season, Green Bay they want it. I think they kind of need something like this to get into the playoffs to make themselves feel good. That they moving in the right direction. I just think that offensively they'll be able to make a little bit more plays than the Bears will.
That locker room looks good though for Chicago, man. They rallying right now. I saw the little video. Smoking cigars and stuff.
They are rallying over the past 5-6 weeks. They've been the number one defense in the league per EPA. So
that's crazy.
I'm gonna rock with Green Bay as well. I was delightfully surprised because I did think that the Vikings defense and Brian Flores was going to present some problems, especially with them having missing some receivers last week, and Jordan Love aced the test. And I don't think that Chicago will. I trust Matt LaFleur. For somebody that had 3 back-to-back seasons where they won 13 games, Matt LaFleur hasn't really gotten a lot of respect in terms of him as just a pure offensive coach or just a coach in general. And I think that he gets some of that respect this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and rock with the Packers as well, and I think Jordan Love gets in.
I'm going to change my pick.
Which one?
I'm going to go Chicago.
Okay.
I'm going to go Chicago.
They've been the number one defense in the league. They've been the number one defense.
I'm going to go Chicago.
Not a bad pick.
The 5th defense in the league was the Atlanta Falcons, but we saw what they did last week. But anyway, the biggest game of the week. Well,
vibes are low.
You could say they're tied with let's just go ahead and say the biggest game of the week. Biggest game of the week.
It's a Sunday night
Buffalo,
too, right?
Yeah, Sunday night. Buffalo versus Miami. We don't know Jalen Waddle's going to play at this point, but it's trending like they're trying to get him in. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the tough injury to Bradley Chubb, as well as Jalen Phillips. We saw him get injured earlier in the season, a few weeks back. Buffalo on a 4-game win streak. Miami's they just got smacked by 50, damn near 50 points, 40 points I meant. So they're coming off a tough loss. Buffalo's coming off of a win, but maybe kind of an ugly win in a close win against their division rival in the Patriots. Huge game because we're talking about. There's a lot of questions going to be about Tua if they lose this game. There's a lot of questions that's going to come about Sean McDermott if they lose this game, especially if they miss the playoffs. With some of the things that could happen with Pittsburgh possibly winning on Saturday as well. Who you guys got, man?
That's a tough one, man. Tyreek Hill, house burning down today.
Didn't burn down, but burning.
Yeah. No, there's a lot going on for Miami. I'm gonna go Buffalo. This is tough. This is a tough one.
Tough.
But I'm gonna go with the hot team. Really don't like what Miami's doing. Really didn't like how they looked last week. I think Josh Allen in that team figures this out. I think James Cook has a big day, huge day.
Tap in, Chris.
Man, I'm just gonna go Miami, man. That was my preseason pick to win the division.
Pick.
So I'm gonna stick with that, man. But Buffalo is on a good winning streak. So it's tough, but I'm gonna go Miami, man. They at home, right?
Yeah, right home.
Yeah, it's in my
Sunday Night Football. I gotta rock with Josh Allen, man. Gotta rock with Josh Allen. Gotta rock with the Buffalo Bills. They've been the third best defense in the league over the past 6 weeks. The story is that they've been winning, but they haven't necessarily maybe looked as impressive as they should. I don't really know what that means when you're on a 4-game win streak. At the end of the day, they've been
finding ways to win.
Yeah, they've been finding ways to win, especially after all the stuff that came out about Sean McDermott and him suggesting Al Qaeda was put together great teamwork and all this
crazy.
stuff. It's kind of crazy, but they've seemed to rally around each other, and the story recently has been Stephon Diggs, the decreasing amount of snap counts that he's had, as well as just decrease in production. I do think this is the game that he goes ahead and gets off. Xavier Howard's banged up. I don't think Jalen Ramsey's going to travel with him. So I think that we finally get a Stephon game that we're used to seeing. And I think the Buffalo Bills come in and they're prepared to go and they get the win on Sunday Night Football. And that wraps us up for the weekly picks, man. It's so sad that it's the last week of the regular season, but I'm looking forward to a great playoff, coming next week, and hopefully the Colts get that division win. So
we gonna see.
We gonna see.
I can't wait to go over, Chris. I was saying this too. We're gonna go over our yearly recap.
Yeah, yearly recap review next week.
Yeah, because some of these picks on here are a little hilarious. So yeah, it's a little ugly too.
But it is definitely a little ugly.